Who was most likely to improvise during the scene?
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Right now, you look like Okay, come on, we got it.
I don't understand why she's frustrated. That's how I feel watching her interviews.
How do you feel about the impact that she's having on young Black girls? And I'm going to be completely honest, on Black women.
You know, this is yet another area that's getting vibrant. It's getting full in the way that it should.
One major development going on now involves more to do with Dominique Thorne going off at the fans yet again in the midst of the Ironheart ratings disaster.
It's all ego. You would never find me with an ego like that. Not with my fallopian tubes.
Comes to the numbers. Spoiler alert, kind of exactly what we expect. Ironheart ratings in the gutter.
Now, Thorne delivered the following in a desperate play to salvage the series. I think Marvel fans, she says, just need to take a step back and to stop focusing on our support for both diversity and LGBTQ and claiming that as some form of a hidden message. Now is that we know that Kevin Feige and Bob Iger, they're also engaging in damage control about this show, saying things like, don't trust the negative reviews, don't trust the trades, stuff like that.
Ironheart is the biggest L of Marvel of all time. The reactions are just spectacular. Supposedly he's smarter than Tony Stark, bites an electric wire, sells her soul to gain magic powers, uses new powers to steal. What did the writers mean by this? Smoke detector beeps.
And they were doing everything in their power to really prop up this show. That's exactly why they had RDJ, Robert Downey Jr., some weeks ago going on talk shows to really say that Riri is the best thing to the MCU to represent the legacy of Tony Stark.
Natalie AI thing seems utterly preposterous and ridiculous, and even for an MCU show, I'm finding it to be a little bit of a bridge too far to go. The Heist crew, all lame. Every single one of them, all lame.
And so in this, I'm not sure what they're meant to be, because this character isn't to be confused with Slug.
Slug, our hacker extraordinaire.
Who is also the exact opposite in the same show. I'm really confused.
Was a massive disappointment in the ratings for them, certainly. We do know, when you go and you look at through these charts, the first couple days it was out, because we have 3 days of Ironheart in these numbers, just like we had 3 days of Daredevil in these numbers. And Daredevil in those first 3 days had over 300 million minutes watched. So, and that was with less possible runtime than something like Ironheart. Yet we know that it hasn't matched that.
Marvel just made a move that has fans stunned, and Dominique Thorne, she's furious. After months of silence surrounding the flop of Ironheart, Marvel Studios officially announced a brand new show centered around Mephisto, played by none other than Sacha Baron Cohen. But here's what shocked everyone. Dominique Thorne's Riri Williams, she's nowhere in the picture.
How do you feel about the impact that she's having on young Black girls? And I'm going to be completely honest, on Black women.
You know, this is yet another area that's getting vibrant. It's getting full in the way that it should.
Not even a cameo, not a reference, nothing. Now, let's be clear. Dominique was supposed to be one of Marvel's next generation heroes. Ironheart was hyped as the future, a young genius inventor stepping into the void left by Iron Man. But instead of dominating the MCU, the show crumbled.
It deserves your attention. Ironheart deserves your attention. That's how I knew. I was like, oh, they are desperate to get people to watch this show. But after I did my reaction, I kept getting, hey, it wasn't that bad. I just watched it. Hey, I just watched the first 3 episodes. It wasn't that.
And while Marvel fans pointed fingers at sloppy writing and poor creative direction, one name kept coming up, Dominique Thorne. And now, with the Mephisto series moving forward and Dominique completely cut from the story, it looks like Marvel is done protecting her image.
Ironheart might be one of the worst executed ideas ever in the MCU, because under all that garbage was actually potential.
So what really went wrong with Ironheart? And why did Marvel double down on Mephisto while leaving Dominique in the dust? Buckle up, because this story is darker than you think.
Yeah, and it's like the real Tony Stark. It's like back somehow, and there's like a moment where she's flying through and he's like, who is that? And she's like, I'm Ironheart, Mr. Stark. And he's like, I like that girl. And then he like goes to do something else. Like that would be like the level of something that I think would possibly happen.
It all started with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Dominique Thorne made her MCU debut as Riri Williams, a teenage genius who reverse-engineered Iron Man's tech from her dorm room. On paper, it sounded like the perfect launch. A black female lead with brains, confidence, and ties to Tony Stark's legacy. Marvel fans were ready to embrace her. When she showed up in Wakanda Forever, the response was mixed. Some loved the energy she brought, calling her a breath of fresh air. But others, especially longtime comic fans, felt something was off. They said Riri felt more like comic relief than a true hero. Her jokes didn't always land. Her presence in a film packed with heavy themes felt misplaced. And most importantly, Dominique's delivery didn't sell the genius-level intellect the character was supposed to have.
There is also way too much focus on the LGBTQ community by the fandom in a negative manner, and it just needs to go away, I think, for a healthy story to grow, and for Riri to really share her limelight with.
Still, Marvel charged ahead. Ironheart got greenlit fast, with Dominique cast as the lead. The announcement was wrapped in words like groundbreaking and next-gen storytelling. Interviews painted Riri as the next big face of Marvel's evolving lineup. Behind the scenes, insiders hinted at high expectations. Disney Plus poured a sizable budget into the series, with Marvel hoping it would hit the same cultural note as WandaVision or Loki. But here's where things started to get shaky. Early test screenings revealed a problem. The show didn't feel right. Reports leaked about reshoots, rushed rewrites, and producers scrambling to fix the tone. Dominique, though front and center, struggled with the pressure. Crew members claimed she often second-guessed her lines. Directors reportedly tried to pull more emotion from her scenes.
Not only is she incredibly controlling, but she's a bitch about it to everybody who works for her when things inevitably start spiraling.
Oh my God. She is so full of it. This is not.
And by the time the show was finally ready for release, the damage was already done. When Ironheart finally dropped on Disney Plus, it was supposed to be Dominique's breakout moment. Instead, it became one of the most criticized projects Marvel had ever released. Fans were savage. The plot was labeled confusing, the pacing erratic, and the visual effects rushed. But the one thing that got called out over and over again was Dominique's performance. Across YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, fan reactions piled in. Comments described her acting as emotionless, unconvincing, and even robotic. Some viewers compared her delivery to reading lines off a cue card, and it wasn't just casual fans noticing. Major review sites echoed similar sentiments. Critics said Dominique lacked the charisma and screen presence to carry a lead role. One reviewer even wrote, "It feels like Dominique was cast for what she represents, not what she brings to the role." Of course, Marvel tried to spin the narrative. Execs quietly shifted the blame to creative misfires. Writers and producers were blamed for trying to juggle too many themes: race, legacy, technology, without a solid foundation. But no amount of PR spin could hide the truth. Ironheart flopped, and Dominique's name was now tied to one of Marvel's biggest failures. To make matters worse, the only part of Ironheart that fans actually liked was Mephisto. Played by Sacha Baron Cohen, the demonic trickster made a surprise appearance midway through the series, and instantly became the talk of social media. His performance was eerie, unpredictable, and strangely charismatic, the exact opposite of what viewers felt watching Riri Williams on screen. And that contrast? It sealed Dominique's fate. Marvel started pulling promo materials featuring her. Her name faded from press releases, and when fans asked what was next for Ironheart, Marvel stayed silent. The message was loud and clear: she wasn't coming back. But then came the final nail in the coffin: Marvel's announcement of a brand new Mephisto series. And Dominique? She found out the same way we all did, through social media. And what happened next was explosive. After the disaster that was Ironheart, Dominique Thorne didn't just fade into the background. She was methodically erased. There was no official press release. No "thanks for your contribution to the MCU." No goodbye post from the Marvel Instagram. Just silence. And in the world of Marvel, that silence says everything. At first, fans assumed Dominique would be given a second shot. After all, Marvel has a long history of fixing broken characters. Just look at how they turned Loki, once a side villain, into a beloved anti-hero. But when Marvel's Phase 5 and 6 lineup began circulating, one name was missing from everything: Riri Williams. Dominique's absence didn't go unnoticed. Fan pages started compiling all the upcoming projects: Young Avengers, Armor Wars, even side appearances in Daredevil, Born Again. Riri wasn't listed in any of them. Meanwhile, newer faces like Kamala Khan and Kate Bishop were being promoted left and right. It was clear Dominique was being iced out. Behind the scenes, whispers started leaking. Sources claimed Marvel executives were deeply disappointed in Ironheart's reception. There were even rumors that Kevin Feige himself wanted the series quietly retired. Dominique, once touted as a breakout star, was now being viewed as a casting misfire, someone they'd rather forget than fix. What made it worse was how cleanly Marvel executed the move. Dominique's interviews were no longer promoted. Her merchandise slowed to a halt. At Comic-Con, where she was once expected to appear alongside other rising stars, her name was pulled from the panel lineup entirely. No explanation, just gone. Industry insiders started using a phrase that hadn't been heard around Marvel in years: quiet cut. It's what they do when they want to sever ties without making headlines. No drama, no confrontation, just silence. For Dominique, it wasn't just a professional rejection, it was personal. She had given years to this role, only to be left in the dust like she never existed. But while Dominique was being erased from Marvel's plans, another character was being thrust into the spotlight, and he wasn't even supposed to be the star. When Sacha Baron Cohen was cast in Ironheart, most fans assumed it was a one-off, a quirky cameo, a weird choice for an already weird show. But from the moment he appeared as Mephisto, everything changed. Sacha brought something to the screen that Ironheart had been missing: unpredictability. Every line he delivered felt like it had a double meaning. Every smirk made you wonder if he was telling the truth or planning something darker. Even in a show where nothing quite clicked, Mephisto did. Social media exploded. Hashtags like #MephistoRises and Sacha Saves Ironheart began trending within hours of his appearance. Fans who had written off the show admitted they were watching just to see what Mephisto would do next. TikTok edits, YouTube breakdowns, and Reddit theories flooded the internet. It was clear Marvel had accidentally struck gold. And Marvel? They listened. Within weeks, rumors surfaced that Mephisto would be getting his own series. At first, fans thought it was fake, another internet rumor that would disappear in a few days. But then, Marvel dropped the bombshell, an official announcement confirming a Mephisto-led series centered around the darker, mystical side of the MCU. Fans were ecstatic. Sacha's Mephisto wasn't just a villain, he was an experience. Sinister, charming, and layered. The announcement trailer leaned heavily into horror vibes, candle-lit cathedrals, twisted mirror dimensions, and whispers of Mephisto's true form. It felt like Marvel was finally tapping into the supernatural energy fans had been begging for. But buried beneath all that excitement was a glaring omission: no Riri Williams. Despite their shared scenes in Ironheart, Mephisto's solo project had completely wiped the slate clean. No mention of Ironheart, no connection to her storyline. It was as if Marvel wanted to pretend that part of his origin never happened. To fans, the message was obvious. Dominique Thorne was officially out. Marvel wasn't just cutting ties, they were rewriting history. And when Dominique found out she'd been left out of the Mephisto series, she snapped. What started as quiet frustration behind the scenes was about to become a very public meltdown, and the internet was ready for it. Dominique Thorne had stayed silent through most of the Ironheart backlash. No dramatic interviews, no social media speeches, nothing. But when Marvel officially announced the Mephisto series, and she wasn't even mentioned, that silence shattered. At first it was subtle, a cryptic Instagram story, black background, just 2 words: noted Beck. No context, no explanation. But fans knew the timing was too perfect, and it didn't stop there. Over the next few days, Dominique began posting more frequently and more aggressively. She shared clips from Ironheart with the captions blurred out, as if roasting her own performance. She reposted fan comments about how she carried the show even when the writing failed her. But then came the tweet that set everything off. Funny how you get blamed for a show you didn't write, you didn't direct, and you weren't allowed to shape. But sure, let the internet pretend you had all the power. That tweet blew up instantly. Thousands of retweets, a war in the replies. Some fans rushed to support her, saying she'd been set up to fail. But others clapped back hard, pointing out that Ironheart's biggest issue wasn't just the writing, it was Dominique's performance. Memes started circulating with screenshots of her blank stares in emotional scenes. TikToks roasting her delivery went viral. It wasn't just criticism anymore, it was open season roasting. Behind the scenes, sources say Dominique was livid. One insider claimed she called Marvel's exec team demanding answers, wanting to know why she wasn't involved in the Mephisto series when her show introduced the character. She allegedly accused Marvel of using her as a launchpad and then discarding her the moment something else worked. Some reports even claimed she threatened to speak out more publicly, to expose what she called the real reason Ironheart failed. Whether those threats were real or just frustration boiling over is unclear. But what is clear is that Dominique wasn't going down quietly. And just like that, her image started to shift. She wasn't the rising Marvel star anymore. She was the actor left behind and mad about it. But Dominique wasn't the only one reacting. The entire fandom was splitting in two, and the arguments were getting uglier by the day. The Dominique Thorne drama didn't stay confined to Marvel circles. It exploded across the internet. Twitter, Reddit, YouTube commentary channels, everyone had an opinion, and no one was backing down. On one side, you had fans supporting Dominique. They pointed out how Marvel had fumbled female leads before. Remember how Captain Marvel faced harsh pushback? Or how She-Hulk became a meme factory overnight? They argued that Dominique never had a fair shot. Poor writing, lackluster direction, and an inconsistent tone had doomed Ironheart before she ever stepped on set. Supporters even began trending hashtags like Justice for Riri and Marvel Did Her Dirty, flooding comment sections on Marvel's official posts. They argued that Dominique was being made the scapegoat for Marvel's broader creative failures. She didn't flop, the show did, one viral tweet read, and Marvel is pretending like she never existed. existed. But the other side of the internet wasn't buying it. Critics of Dominique argued that accountability matters. They pointed out that great actors can elevate even bad material, and Dominique simply didn't. Her line delivery was flat. Her emotional beats fell short. They pointed to other Marvel stars who'd overcome weak scripts, like Tom Hiddleston or Elizabeth Olsen, and argued that real talent shines through. And in Dominique's case, it didn't. Some fans even accused her of being ungrateful, saying her cryptic posts and angry tweets only confirmed that she wasn't ready for the spotlight. One Reddit thread summed it up bluntly. Marvel gave her the keys to the kingdom, and she crashed the car. Now she wants to blame the road. The divide wasn't just fan-based either. Commentary creators started uploading full breakdowns, titled things like, "Did Dominique Thorne ruin Ironheart?" or "Why Marvel quietly cut Riri Williams?" These videos racked up hundreds of thousands of views, with comments overwhelmingly echoing one sentiment. Marvel made the right choice by moving on, and through it all, Dominique kept posting. Not directly, not explicitly, but enough to stir the pot, enough to keep everyone watching. Some called it damage control, others called it desperation, but everyone agreed on one thing. This wasn't just a PR mess, it was a full-blown character collapse, and Dominique was at the center of it. While Dominique Thorne's reputation was unraveling online, Marvel was already moving forward, fast, and their new poster boy, the literal devil himself. Mephisto wasn't just getting a solo series, he was being set up as the centerpiece of Marvel's darker universe. Think less Avenger-style heroism and more psychological horror, mysticism, and twisted morality. Insiders described the upcoming Mephisto series as a risk Marvel never would have taken 5 years ago. But now, it was exactly what fans were asking for, and the casting, genius. Sacha Baron Cohen, known for wild, unpredictable roles, delivered a version of Mephisto that felt both charming and terrifying. He wasn't just a villain, he was a scene stealer. Fans compared his performance to early Thanos, or even Loki at his most manipulative. Reddit threads exploded with theories. Was Mephisto behind Wanda's breakdown? Did he cause the multiverse cracks in Loki? Was Ironheart just the beginning? What started as a supporting role became the foundation of a brand new branch of the MCU, and Dominique's character completely discarded in the process. The irony didn't go unnoticed. The show that introduced Mephisto, Ironheart, was now being scrubbed from memory, while its villain was being treated like a second coming. In fact, Marvel's new marketing strategy made zero mention of Ironheart at all. You'd think Mephisto appeared out of nowhere, fully formed, disconnected from the failed series Dominique led. That silence? It wasn't accidental. Marvel was cleaning house, quietly, ruthlessly, and strategically. Dominique's Riri Williams was a casualty of that cleanup, not because of one bad episode, but because the audience had already moved on. And if there's one rule in Hollywood Marvel never forgets, it's this: if the audience isn't with you, you're not staying. So where does that leave Dominique Thorne? Right now, she's stuck in the most dangerous place a young actor can be, in limbo. Not officially fired, not officially recast, just not called back. It's Marvel's quietest and most savage form of exile. There's no announcement, no closure, just the slow realization that your keycard doesn't work anymore. Dominique went from headlining her own Marvel series to being completely cut from the company's future plans. No cameos, no crossovers, no "we'll bring her back in Phase 7, just radio silence. Some fans are still holding out hope, hoping Marvel will bring her back, give her another shot in a team-up series or a surprise cameo. But insiders say that's unlikely. Dominique's public reactions, her tweets, her passive-aggressive posts, they didn't just spark debate, they made her look difficult. And in an industry that values silence over outbursts, that's a life sentence. It's a harsh truth, but in today's Marvel machine, stars don't get second chances unless they bring undeniable value to the brand. And right now, Dominique Thorne is associated with failure, not franchise potential. Compare that to Sacha Baron Cohen, who walked into the MCU as a complete wildcard and walked out with a solo series, massive fan approval, and the backing of Marvel's full creative team. That's the difference between surviving a flop and being erased by one. So, is this the end of Dominique Thorne's Marvel career? All signs point to yes. And while she might land new roles or try to reinvent herself outside of the superhero world, her fall from MCU grace is a reminder of how fast things change in Hollywood. One month, you're the face of a billion-dollar franchise. The next, you're just a footnote in someone else's origin story. Dominique didn't just lose a role. She lost the momentum, the spotlight, and the benefit of the doubt. And unless something dramatic changes, Marvel has already made their decision. They chose Mephisto, and they left Riri behind.